How's it going today, everyone? After going back and forth about making this video, I felt like I needed to talk about it, and as you can see, this is about Gear 5's one major problem. Some people are going to come after me for making this video, as this is a big topic in the community right now, but it is what it is. With that being said, I'm going to explain my problem with Gear 5 and more importantly, how to fix and address this issue. Alright, with that out the way, let's get into the video. So what is my issue with Gear 5? Well, I believe it slightly suffers from what it ultimately represents, that being freedom. And 99% of the time, I think it works. I love the way Oda made it feel like he is truly free in this form. But unfortunately, there are specific moments where it just falls flat for me. So we have to start in the most recent chapter, following the previous events in which we saw Saturn pierce Vegapunk due to the rules he put in place for the Pacifista. This would reveal that Bonnie was in the highest tier of command. Then Luffy would arrive in Gear 5 laughing it up while someone is literally on the ground about to pass away. Now, I do get what Oda was going for, Luffy is the hope in this situation. But in scenes like this, I think there has to be some sort of in-between to keep the tension that was built, as well as the personality of Gear 5 or Nika, and that just didn't really happen here in my opinion. I'm not expecting Luffy to start bawling his eyes out or have some super rage moment, but I need more than a haha Bonnie, I'm laughing, feel better now from Luffy. If we're gonna do this in super serious emotional moments like these, there needs to be more than this. What's the point if you're just going to take everything away from it? Now, maybe you could say I'm overreacting, and that's fair, as this is one of only maybe 2 or 3 moments out of Gear 5's entirety where I could feel a way about this. But this one made me think a little differently just due to this being a situation we've never really had with this form. People have complained about Gear 5 really since the day of its introduction. Think into the future when Luffy eventually does go up against an Akainu or a Blackbeard, who were both integral in events leading to his own brother's demise, and we saw firsthand what that did to Luffy. That arguably was one of, if not the most heart-wrenching moment in the series, so whenever that time comes, I won't doubt Oda as he rarely misses, but I just think there needs to be something more to make it feel like he doesn't take away from the moment while still being what it needs to represent. And with us knowing he gets stronger through laughter, maybe Oda can play into that even more. Laughing doesn't always need to be inherently goofy. Maybe we could get a more dramatic laugh or a more menacing laugh, for example, to really go along with certain tones in different scenarios that could add even more variance to Gear 5 and its abilities. This is one way I think Oda could really drive home emotional moments like these. My final true complaint about this form is maybe it feels like they're being a little too reliant on it. And I don't mean Luffy is relying on it too much, as he should, it's his strongest form, but that maybe it takes away from the other Straw Hats, that being Zoro and Sanji in particular. But I can't go too hard on that part, especially in this arc where there's literally an admiral and someone probably stronger than him. How strong Saturn actually is up in the air. I tend to think he should be stronger than Kizaru, some people disagree, it is what it is. But y'all get what I'm saying. Obviously, Luffy is going to get the shine as the MC, but we've always had Zoro and Sanji doing significant things within each arc. The arc isn't over, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully we do get a very big moment with these two, or maybe this just isn't their time right now. Now, in defense of Gear 5, just in case anyone who's actively thinking I'm one of these Gear 5 haters, that's completely false. I love this form, and anyone who thinks this is some breakaway from Luffy's character is kinda weird to me. Luffy's Devil Fruit before Gear 5 allowed him to do things with his body that pretty much allowed him to be free. He can stretch an insane amount, he can blow himself up, bounce around, and just morphing and using his body in an infinite amount of creative ways. Gear 5 took this, and instead of trying to fight freely with limitations, now he can fight with no limitations whatsoever, besides of course the drain on his body. I mean, look at how his fighting style has always been since the very beginning of the story. He has always used a quote-unquote goofy style in his fights, using his imagination to do whatever he wanted to try. This goes along with the most important thing in this section, and that is that Luffy has always and always will be an inherently goofy character. The way some people talk about Gear 5 would make you think Luffy was some Guts or Kaneki type of MC that randomly turned into Looney Tunes. Now, did Luffy have way more serious moments? Absolutely. But think about why these moments come off as being so great. It's because, once again, Luffy is inherently a goofy character. And those serious moments are going to stand out in comparison to how he normally is. But that's why I and many others love Luffy. We know he acts this way because he does what he wants. He loves to laugh, but when it comes down to it, he will stand for what he believes in as well as his crew. So when others bring this up, I get confused. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. I personally truly fail to understand why people are so thrown off about Gear 5 when it ultimately emphasizes what Luffy has always been. When you look at all the gears, most specifically Gear 4 and all of its variants, He could do all these different things to keep adding to his free way of fighting, with each of them having their own benefits. Like Bound Man having increased attack, Tank Man obviously being a tank, and Snake Man being a huge increase in speed and attack. The only logical next step was Gear 5, to affect people and things around him, which once again plays right into his character. People are allowed to like or dislike whatever they want, but I feel like I've seen way too many people give up on this form already. As if we haven't only had it for 2 arcs, it's still in its infant stage literally, due to its stamina and the fact he probably doesn't even have full control over it anyways. This is also an insane amount of pressure on Oda to try and ride around this form in a way it can be goofy, entertaining, serious, and powerful all at the same time. It's just like I said earlier, I don't like how this one specific scene was executed in a moment like this, but I would never bash on the form completely because of it. I am undoubtedly still a fan of this form, it's just this could bring up some concern for the future. I'm definitely going to be paying attention to these moments, but I trust Oda nonetheless. Now would I want things to be a bit more serious? Maybe, but I still think for the most part it's fine. What Oda has been going for has been good. But things are always able to be critiqued, and scenes like this I have to talk about. Let me know what y'all think about this, and Gear 5 in general. But yeah, that's my little mini rant about Gear 5th. If you liked the video, like the video, sub if you want. That's all from me. Peace.